What up? Welcome to the Continual Growth Podcast, where we help you kill every day and own your fucking life. Today is episode 36. I'm Bwanka. Sturr's in the house.
Yup, back at it. Let's go.
What's good, Sturr? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Feeling really good. Happy about today's episode. It's gonna be a hot one.
You about to bring that hot fire?
Oh yeah.
Okay. How's your week going so far?
Good, man. I tweaked my morning routine last week or the week before, so things have been fresh, man. Just waking up, and what I've been really getting good at actually is eliminating the time between transitions from doing one task to another.
Yeah.
And it's worked amazing, man. I've been using some rules that I've been reading in books on self-discipline. That's really been helping me. So I'm feeling good, man. I'm ready to kill it.
Okay. Just to let the people know, we're filming on a Wednesday today, so we're halfway in. It's hump day for some people.
Yeah.
For us, it's just another day to try to get ahead.
Exactly. How about you, man? How's your week going so far?
Well, my week is going good. It's going fire. Normally on Wednesday, I do the Bwanka, you know.
Yeah.
I do a little run, a little swim.
Yep.
Swim with you. Run. Did you swim this morning?
I swam this morning. I did. There was a rule you told me to do. Try not to stop before getting to the other side.
Yeah.
And I did that today. I did 10 laps. So it was good, man.
Sick.
It was really good. Yeah.
All right. So, yo, you know Frankie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I got this crazy morning routine. Now, you've done my morning with me before. Jaf's done my morning with me before. So a couple people did my morning routine with me, and I got different feedback. Like some people said, yo, this would take me a whole day.
Mm-hmm.
Some people said, yo, we're doing things I had never even thought about. This could take me a whole week. I remember when you did it first time you did it, you're like, yo, in 4 hours, this would normally take me 4 days to do.
Yeah, man. 4 hours that are programmed and scheduled are so crucial. Like there's so much you can get done in that time. So when I did it for the first time with you, it opened my mind not only to time and how we use it or lack the use of time, but just the amount of tasks you can add to your day to help you have a better day, a more energetic day, and a positive day. That's the one thing that I've learned about my mornings and doing that experience with you was I enjoy what I do in the morning now because of how it makes me feel throughout the rest of the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, tell us more about how you experienced that with Frank.
Okay, so like the 4 hour morning, you wake up at 4:44.
Mm-hmm.
We were done by 8:20 today, so
Amazing.
three and a half hours.
That's amazing.
It was quick things.
Yeah.
But it started last night, right? You don't just wake up and start doing it. You gotta
Okay.
start the night before. So the first thing that we talk about all the time on the podcast is that sense of direction, right?
Yep.
So the first thing that we did last night was we made goals.
Mm-hmm.
He had like a couple goals, but nothing serious, hadn't written it down, didn't know the proper way to write goals down.
Yeah.
We have a product for that. It's a complimentary product. We don't charge anybody, and it just shows you how to write down your goals. So I gave him that. I gave him the guide. He wrote out his goals. That was the first thing he did. The next thing he did was the letter to himself. This is another complimentary product that we have. It's not up on the site yet, but it's going to be there soon. And then he wrote a letter to himself. Basically, that's just deciding the life that you want to live.
It's almost like last podcast when we talked about mantras. It's almost like the words you live by. So it's a decision. It's the words that you're gonna live by, but it's your decision. You're saying what you're gonna do and how you're gonna do it in order to get to where you want to be. So I mean, those two things at night. That's an incredible way to go and kind of prime your subconscious to get you prepared for the morning.
Yeah, so he had those two. The next thing was the GSD, the Get Shit Done list. So he got a book, a GSD.
Yep.
He wrote out the 3 most important things that he needs to get done today. I'm like 100% sure he's gonna get them done.
Amazing. Yes.
And then I like told him, yo, you gotta bring a cup of water with you to bed. That way, right when you wake up, you just drink a water and you're good to go.
Man, let's go, Frank. I'm excited for you. I hope you're listening to this.
Yeah. So we got into it. We started the morning out, did meditation, 21 ideas, journaling, got a workout in. Just basically the whole morning routine. If you want to know more about it, hit us up on Instagram, hit us up in the DMs.
Oh yeah.
We'll tell you more about it. But it was all productivity. And what he was so surprised about was like how fast we move from thing to thing.
Right.
And that's exactly what you were talking about a little bit earlier.
Yeah, productivity is key, and the reason why it works for people is because you start to build habits that allow you to be productive, right? So for me, when I think about habits, I think about the choices that people make every day. Yeah. I talked about it last time about whenever I make a decision or I have to make any kind of choice, I weigh my options, whether it's going to hurt or help me. So basically, that's what choices are. That's what our habits are. Is what can you do to help you and what can you do to hurt you? And we do these things. These are choices we make every single day. Now we make them long enough, and if we do it consistent enough and long enough, then our body gets really used to it. So then our body makes it a habit, and our body can overpower our mind in that sense. Like there are times where when I was changing habits or trying to build a new habit, in my mind I was like, I don't feel like doing this, I don't want to, or even if there was something positive I wanted to do, like, okay, you know what, I'm going to do this, but my body wouldn't allow it because it's so used to doing certain things a certain way.
Okay.
So that's the habit.
So the Duke University, they did a study, right?
Yeah.
And what they found out was 45% of everything that we do, it's happening by habit. Okay, so this is tying right into what you're saying.
Yeah.
So if you think about things that come easy to you, let's talk about like walking. You learn to do that when you're a baby, so you don't even remember. You take it for granted. Talking, learn to do that when you were young. Take it for granted.
Yeah.
Eating, you learn to do that when you're done. When you were young, you take it for granted. But all of these things, they come easy to us. Our brain doesn't have to use any power.
Yeah.
But you use lots of your brain power on things that are difficult for you.
Yeah.
So as we start making things that are difficult become easy, and we start making habits that we never thought we could do, like waking up at 4:45 in the morning, going to the gym at like 6 a.m. Because trust me, I used to think that was crazy.
Yeah.
I used to work out at midnight sometimes, and that was way like. To me, I thought working out at midnight
was like going hard.
That was better to do than going at 6 a.m. and being dedicated and having a nice routine.
Yeah.
But the goal when it comes to habits, to make these habits easy, is to just do it many times. Do it so many times that your body says like,
absolutely,
yo, this is easy. I don't have to listen to what my mind says.
Yeah. I really like the examples you used though, the things we take for granted, because like walking, talking, and I forget what else you said, breathing, I think it is. Eating. Yeah. Those are still things, well, maybe not eating, but walking and definitely talking are things that you struggle with when in the beginning. So although we're saying these are things that are easy and we take for granted, which they are, but at the time, I try to tell people to imagine yourself back when you were trying to walk, or back when you were trying to talk or learn a new language or whatever it is. It's that process is basically what life is in a broader aspect or perspective, because when you're a baby, right, and you're crawling, that's all you know, you're crawling, and you start to walk, but when you walk, most times you fall, but babies, the thing about babies is I guess they don't have as many distractions as we do today. They just go on with it, they just keep going because they want to run,
they see that it's normal because everybody around them is walking, and they're the only ones crawling, so they're like, if all these people can do it, for sure I could do it, because if babies just saw everybody else crawling, they'd be crawling too. Yeah,
and so I mean that brings me to this point. It's easier said than done. Those are, what you just said. Babies, they see what's around them and they're like, okay, we want to do it too. But bring yourself to someone who's maybe they just finished university, or they're into their career. They've gotten a little bit older. They're mature now, and they have a certain set of habits and choices that they make automatically now, right? So this person is the problem with the people in that situation, because I can speak from experience, is that we can't embrace change, or we fear to embrace change.
Yeah.
So what I've been trying to do, a lot of the readings I've been doing and listening to podcasts, and they talk a lot about the scientific term is metacognition, which is basically thinking about what we think about.
Okay.
And I think that's it. The part of it is self-awareness and understanding your unconscious habits. But the biggest part is I had to stop and think about that for a second. I was like, man, that's actually crazy to stop and think about what we think about all the time. The reason why I say it is Joe Dispenza, who prior, I think he used to be a chiropractor, turned into a neuroscientist after an accident. I highly recommend that the people listening to this check him out, because he talks so much about the mind and body connection, and it's unbelievable what he's been through and what he shares with the world. But he mentions, and I've heard this before, you've heard this before, that around 60, the average human has 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. Okay, I remember when I heard it the first time, Though the second part to that, I heard that 80% of those were negative thoughts, but that's a different conversation for another time. What's more important about the stat that I heard in this last podcast was 90% of those 60 to 70,000 thoughts are the same thoughts we've had the day before. Mm-hmm. That's crazy to me, because that basically means you're living the same life over and over again, expecting for different results. But if you're thinking about the same things, you're probably acting and doing the same things that trigger those thoughts and feelings. So what are you really changing? You know what I mean? I think it's important to tell people that part of it, just because if you want to embrace change, you have to understand what it really means first, and then you can fall into it. And even if it's tough and it's going to be a long journey, at least you know what that actually means. Yes. And I didn't know that before. So, and
I think that goes back to like, you don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. Like, yo, this world 100%. Is fucking massive. Yeah. There's so much shit happening in this world. Like, and even just in our city, in Toronto, there's so many things happening that we have no clue about.
We're so small, man. We're so small in the grand scheme of things.
We're so small. So when we start becoming like closed-minded and we don't think like, I know everything, there's nothing to learn. There's always something to learn. There's always like a better way. There's always a different solution. Someone else is always going to do it a different way. But at the end of the day, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's education, right? So learning, another thing that I learned about learning is that basically learning is just connections. That's all it is in our mind. It's just what it is a connection. You know this, everyone knows this. Basically, if there's what I know, right, in my mind, there's what I know, and then there's some new piece of information. For me to understand it and learn it, then there has to be that connection. So I'm fed this information. This is what I know. Oh, it makes sense to me. I've learned that. If I haven't, if it's not making sense to me, then there's different channels of learning that need to be shot out to me for me to understand it. That's basically what learning is.
Yeah. Okay, so in the beginning we talked about like all these different habits that we do automatically. Yeah. So those are from when you're a kid. It's really hard to think back on them, right? So let's think about things that people can, that habits that have been built at like an older age. Mm-hmm. So one of the things for me for sure is like I never worked in an office. I always worked like manual labor jobs and stuff like that. So something I always struggled with was typing and like being fast on a computer.
Right.
But then I see people like you, like Jaff, Tanvir, like you guys are all like so fast on a computer, and like to me it's crazy. But it's because you built the habit and you've done it so many times that it's easy to you.
Absolutely, yeah. It became part of our unconscious habits. Literally, like I type, I don't think twice about it ever. Yeah, and that happened from a long time ago, and it was repetition and constant, typing and data entry and things like
so whoever is listening to this, all you got to do is you got to think about the job, the career that you're doing right now, okay? Yeah. In the beginning, you probably had to think so much when you were doing it. Exactly. You probably had tons of questions. It wasn't easy for you, but eventually you kept learning more. It started getting easier, and you got to the point where you're like, this is easy work. Like, I don't even barely have to focus on that. Yeah. And it's because it became a habit. Exactly. It became automatic.
And another thing, I think, at least in my experience, and maybe the same for the people who are listening, is, so habits, again, like I said, they're just choices. So in order to make the right choices and build the right habits, it helps when you have some sort of guidance. And you mentioned this earlier, goals, right? Goals that's the destination. That's where we want to end up. Mm-hmm. So knowing that is really important when it comes to building habits, because now you understand where you want to go, where you need to be. So now what do I have to do to get there? Yeah. These are the habits you have to build. This is the bridge that we always talk about, right? Your best life, where you are now and where your best life is in the middle. That's the bridge. Those are the habits we have to build. Mm-hmm. So set yourself some goals, have some kind of vision, have some sort of, want that you can build habits to get and to attain.
And there's so many different habits that are like, there's easy habits, there's hard habits. One of the hardest habits that everybody wants to do is it's the gym. Okay, this takes the most discipline of probably any kind of habit that there is, right? Yep. The second hardest thing is waking up in the morning, waking up without pressing snooze. That takes a massive amount of discipline. Mm-hmm. But when you can get to the point where you're able to do those things, everything else becomes way easier, because you already know, like, I have the discipline to do these.
Exactly.
And a lot of people, like I said before, you don't know what you don't know. When I started doing this, I had no clue, like, even what book to start with. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But as I started reading, I started knowing more books. I started hearing about more books.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to, like, well, even like on our website. So if you go to our website, continualgrowth.ca, you go to the 21s board, you scroll down, we have 30 different habits that people need that could start building. You know, we got the easy, we got beginner, we got intermediate, and we got advanced.
Yeah, those are key.
We always tell people, start with something that's easy.
Yeah, I mean, because and the easy ones are a good way to build momentum and get you started. Like we always say, small actionable steps, right? So do something that's less than 5 or 10 minutes. Don't go overboard, right? Set your bar low enough so that you can achieve it and then consistently achieve it day after day after day. That builds momentum, and then it also, the effects that you get after each day get bigger. You know what I mean? They grow because now you're compounding what you've been doing for the last how many days.
And why this is so important is because of the confidence, okay?
Yes.
So when you decide to do something, every single time, like if you don't do it, it's going to hurt your confidence. And if you do it, it's going to strengthen your confidence. Yeah. So if you pick something that's easy and you continually keep doing it, you get more confidence. Yeah. And now something that you didn't think you were able to do, because you have that confidence, you say, maybe I can do that. You try that and you just keep building. You keep using that momentum and you keep growing.
Yeah.
And eventually you get to the point where it's like, so Tony Robbins, the GOAT, I heard a great quote from him. I read it every single day after I read my goals. It's people overestimate what they can do in a year,
right,
and underestimate what they can do in a decade.
That's powerful, man. That's perspective right there too.
Yeah. So like,
what does that mean to you?
Like we always think like, I'm gonna try and do as much as I can, and I'll get to my goal like tomorrow or in a month or in a year. But it takes time.
It's true, and I mean another key part to that quote and that whole idea is patience. Like patience is something that has to be practiced. You know what I mean? It's not like you say, okay, I'm going to be patient, I'm going to wait. You have to practice it. It's also a daily practice that you have to understand that, with time, the work that you put in is going to bring results, but you have to be patient. You have to put yourself in a position where, all you think about is, yes, you're thinking about the end goal, but you're thinking about the daily activities, the daily tasks that you're achieving and winning each day to get there. So patience is key. I love that quote because it gives you so much perspective on how habits can help you build your life or anything really that's your goals or whatever that you set to help you improve. So,
sir. Okay, so I got a challenge for all the listeners, all the viewers.
Okay.
We want you to pick one habit that you know is going to help improve your life. Less than 5 minutes, less than 10 minutes. If you don't know what to pick, go on our website, find something, because even just drinking a cup of water when you wake up.
Yeah.
That will heavily impact you. If you do that for the rest of your life, I guarantee you that will heavily impact your life.
Yeah, in a very positive way, for sure.
So decide what you're going to do. Just one thing. Focus on just one thing. And then text somebody and let them know.
Ooh, I like
for the next 21 days, this is what I'm going to be doing, because you need someone to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
So text someone, get them to hold you accountable. If not, you could just send us a DM.
Hit us up, man.
Send us a DM. Let us know, like, this is what I've chose to do. Hold me accountable. We'll help hold you accountable, because at the end of the day, like we always say, like we all grow together.
This is a great exercise for people to do, mainly because it comes back to habits again. This is something that's going to sort of take them out of their comfort zone. This is probably not something people do all the time. Whether they hit a family member up or us, because we're strangers to you, but still you're going to feel that uncomfortable. You're not familiar with that. And that's another big part of habits and building habits. We do things consistently, whether they're the right choices or the wrong choices, but we do them long enough that our body gets familiar with them, and then that becomes habit. So getting out of your comfort zone is focusing on how to get your body unfamiliar with that, get it uncomfortable, get it out of that, and build a new self, a new way of life, a new lifestyle. So
okay. All right, so let's hit them with some tips and then wrap this up.
All right.
So tip number 1: start slow, and build your way up, okay? Don't jump into this and be like, yo, I'm gonna start going to the gym every single day. I promise you're gonna fall off. I've seen lots of people fall off.
Yeah.
This is the hardest thing. Start with something easy. Making your bed, just checking off the board, just something that's gonna be really easy, and build that confidence. Keep trying to get more and more wins until it becomes easy for you to get to the point where you're like, yo, I'm gonna do the most advanced thing and I'm gonna stick with it until it's fucking done.
Exactly. I mean, you said it perfectly there. The only thing I can add to that basically is it's a marathon, not a sprint. You know what I mean? Use that analogy, use that as much as you can on a consistent basis, because that's what it is. It takes time. Understand patience. We talked about it earlier. But really, just give it a marathon type view. Know that you're going to reach certain checkpoints and obstacles on the way, that you'll have some ups, you'll have many downs, but that it's not a sprint. There's no rush to it. There's a certain pace that you need to maintain for you to get to where you need to go. But I mean, that's what it is. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Okay, all right, so what's tip number 2?
Tip number 2, I wanted to talk about how people need to focus on changing their mindset, okay? So what I mean by that is, again, like if people can focus on the long-term consequences based on their behaviors, right? And, you're more likely to do things right now in the short term, in the present. Because if you keep thinking about like, okay, if I make all these bad choices, if I don't build these good habits, this is how my life is going to be. And you just keep thinking that's another habit to build, literally to have that in thought. You will automatically, naturally start to do things better now because you don't want that. You don't want that outcome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So changing your mindset is crucial because, again, when you change the mind and now the body can become accustomed to that, the mind-body connection works in wonders. That's how you start to change your life, literally. You have to change your thoughts, change your movements with your body, and then that changes how you feel. So then you are changing your mindset and changing your life.
Hey, I like that. Yeah. All right, the last tip. It's our favorite tip. We always come back to it because, it's one of the most important things. Trust the process.
Absolutely.
Trust the process. Do what you gotta do and know, like, if I keep doing this, it's gonna help my life. I know when I start, it's gonna help my life. Yeah. So let me just keep riding with this until I can start seeing the effects of it helping my life.
Absolutely, man. I love this one so much just because it speaks to you. This is you. This is all about you. Have that belief in yourself. Have that confidence. Have that faith in yourself. You know what I mean? It's just self-worth is the beginning of progress. So know how much you're worth. Know how much you really matter to this world and to yourself. And that's the beginning of progress.
Hype. Yeah, we need some sound effects in here. I'll get that.
Yeah, man. That was hot fire, man. This was great. Felt good today.
That was a really good episode. Gotta wrap it up. So, guys, like, come on. Tell your friends. If this is helping you, tell your friends. Because, if not, it's selfish. We gotta share this with everyone. Each one, teach one.
We gotta grow.
It's all about growth. Okay, and don't forget, if you got any questions, you need any help with anything, hit us up. Send us a DM, info@Continual Growth.
Yeah, that's it, man. Get at us. We're here. We're ready to help.
And other than that, kill every day and own your fucking life. Boop.